What do we got here?
So I have a 1920s etching from the French artist Louis Icart.
He was like a famous artist and everything, and like sold all over the world, but he was always a little bit risque. Before World War I, he used to do dirty postcards.
I'm at the pawn shop today to sell my 1920s etching by French artist Louis Icart. So this etching is titled Hydrangeas. It's a colorized dry point etching, and I just thought it was really beautiful the way the setting was and the coloring that came out of it. I'm hoping to get $2,000 for my Louis Icart dry point etching.
It's absolutely beautiful. Louis Icart, he was born in the late 1880s, and right around 19 teens, before World War I, you could list him among the top 10 artists in the world. Worked for fashion magazines, everything else like that, but he also started doing his own art. His prints became really, really popular. His main income most likely was these etchings, and they were sold at high-end stores all around the world. This is typical of Icart. It was beautiful women in sheer clothing. Basically, he was really into dry point etching and aquatint. Believe it or not, this is really complicated to make this. A dry point etching is where they take a copper plate and he takes a pen with either a hardened steel point or a diamond on the end of it. And thus he starts drawing all these lines. It was also very labor intensive to actually print them. It's a hand-done process. It wasn't a printing press going bang, bam, bam, bam. That's his signature. I've seen a million times. And it's absolutely beautiful. Can I turn it over?
Oh, sure.
Yep. It was put in an inexpensive frame, and you can see the lines started eating into the paper.
Yeah.
A good 50 or 60% of the prints have this kind of damage. So how much you want for this?
So I'm asking $2,000 for this.
That's way too much.
Okay.
Prints like this sell framed up for like $500-600 with this much damage.
From what I've seen, they're becoming a little bit more fashionable now. How about $800?
I go $325. It's not like Picasso popular or other things like that. I can sell it. I will probably get $750 for it after I spend $150 on a frame.
I really like it, but I think I'm definitely looking to go on to my next purchase, so I'll do $325.
So $325, we got a deal?
We've got a deal.
Okay, I'll meet you right over there. We'll do some paperwork. I'll get you paid.
Thank you.
Okay. I heart this Icart.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. What can I help you with?
Brought in this comic, thought you might be interested in. It's Punch Comics number 12, and it is one of the most difficult books to actually find.
All right, 5.5. It's not exactly a good grade.
It's a fantastic grade for that comic. I'm at the pawn shop today trying to sell my Punch Comics number 12. So this comic is one of the hardest comics to find, especially in good condition. This is one of the most iconic covers of the Golden Age. I bought the book a couple of years ago at what I thought was a great market price. The market has matured, so I'm ready to sell it. I'm hoping to get $75,000 for my Punch Comics number 12.
This is interesting. Punch comics were made in the early 1940s. This is in the golden age of comics, you know, 1938 to about 1956, I think. This isn't your typical comic like Superman that everyone knows of. But I do know that these comics aren't really collected for what was inside. They're more collected for their awesome cover work, because this would have been before the time where they started censoring comics. Just looking at this comic book right here, it's got a lot of shock value to it. More suitable for adults.
I would agree.
So tell me about this comic here.
This one in particular is just incredibly difficult to find. The print runs from the Golden Age, even though they were huge when they were printed, they're minuscule now. There are probably less than 50 copies of this known to exist, and even though it's currently graded at a 5.5, I personally feel like it's undergraded. There are a couple of corner issues that are probably the biggest detractors of the grade. However, you can see that it's really not in that terrible of condition.
So what are you looking to do with this?
So I'd like to sell it.
And how much would you like to get?
I'd like to get $75,000 for it.
All right, well, that's a lot of money for a comic no one's ever heard of. I would imagine, you know, if this was a Spider-Man 1 or something like that, I'd probably be jumping to pay that for it. I do know these Golden Era comics can go for a lot, so before I make you an offer, I want to have someone come down and take a look at it, tell me if they think it's worth $75,000 at a 5.5 grade. So do you have a little bit of time to hang out?
I do, I have time.
All right, let me go get someone down here and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. I have no concerns with the expert coming in to take a look. I'm confident in my price, and I think they will be too.
There's a customer in the shop with what he says is a very rare comic book, Punch Comics number 12. He's asking $75,000 for it, which seems like a huge amount for a comic that's graded 5.5. So I've called in Steve Houston to help me figure out if this thing is worth that much cash or not. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Hey, what have we got today?
Something that you don't see too often, Punch Comics. I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Well, that is quite a special book you have right there. That book is exceedingly rare. That's actually harder to find than the first appearance of Batman, the first appearance of Superman. Comic books from the Golden Age are extremely rare. Even though books were published in huge amounts, the paper drives of the Second World War destroyed millions of comics. Now, of course, this book is famous just because of the cover. It's not the first appearance of a famous character or anything like that. It's all about the cover. This book is very popular within a niche audience. There's a group of collectors out there that do collect pre-code comic books. When we talk about pre-code comic books, we're talking about censorship. And basically, the code came in 1954. Before that, there was no real censorship on product. People could draw, within reason, whatever they wanted to do. The Punch Comics number 12 is highly sought after because it has a specific, slightly scary cover of a skull. Definitely not meant for, young children.
I absolutely love the cover artwork on it, but here's the big problem. It's got a 5.5 grade, and he's asking a pretty penny.
Well, that actually is quite a special book. To date, I think the highest grade ever found on that book is an 8.5. So 5.5 for that book is actually considered quite high. Do you mind if I take a look?
Yeah, please take a look.
Well, of course, the Golden Age standard of grading is slightly different. There's a lot more leeway. Look here at the cover. You've got two significant dings on the corners here. However, in the scheme of things, for a Golden Age book, that isn't that bad. From first appearance here, it does seem a book that presents very well for a 5.5.
Okay, so what kind of dollar amount would you put on this copy?
The rarity of this book is so incredible. The amount of issues out there may be under 50. I would place that book, I would put like 55,000 on it.
All right, well, I appreciate you coming down. Thanks for shedding all your knowledge on this.
Thanks, guys. What a beautiful book.
All right, well, you were asking 75. So what's your bottom dollar on it?
My bottom dollar, honestly, I wouldn't want to accept less than about 70,000 for it. Good luck getting another copy.
How about 45,000?
Ooh, I appreciate the offer, but I just can't let it go. The opportunity cost for me is just a little too high.
Well, I couldn't let it go without making an offer either.
Thank you.
I appreciate you bringing it in.
Thanks, I appreciate it. So we weren't able to make a deal today, but I can roll with the punches. We'll try to sell it again another time.